You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy volt your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Ashley,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you this morning?
Good. So we're a little late in the morning, and yet thank you for coming in. It's been a week for Brooke and I with all the traveling and training. And I really loved our conversation about Disney. So let's have another conversation.
Yeah.
So you and I were talking earlier,
Mhm.
and we were talking about that lovely time blocking and time blocking and
Mhm.
time blocking.
Yep.
What would you say your biggest struggle is with time blocking?
Doing the time block. It's
Okay.
it's as easy as that. Actually setting up my time block, sitting down, looking at my calendar, setting up the time block, and then following through with it.
Yep. One thing I heard when we were having the conversation earlier was you like to start and finish projects.
100%.
Yeah. So like all your birthdays are set up for 2023?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's kind of what I have to do. And that's the way my brain works. And that's the way my brain thinks is, if I have a task or a project here, I want to complete it start to finish. So then I can just push it off my plate.
Right. What is being sacrificed when you spend, let's just say, how many hours did it take for you to do those birthdays?
Oh, 100 hours. It took so long, weeks.
Did it really?
Yes, it took me weeks to create that post. I had to actually create the graphic. Then I had to download it. Then I had to upload it and schedule it to the social media. So it took me a long time.
So let me ask you this. What do you think was sacrificed because you took all those hours doing that?
A lot of my other activities, like things like lead gen, like that definitely got pushed to the side because I was just hyper focused on getting that project completed start to finish.
And would you say the project or lead generation, which one is your 20%?
My lead gen.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we should come up with an affirmation.
Awesome.
What do you think our affirmation should be?
I can time block and prioritize.
I can time block and prioritize.
Yep.
All right. So you and I coach a bit. What do you think my coaching action is going to be for you based on the conversations that we've had around this?
It's going to be, actually build out your schedule with a time block. What you're going to tell me is what is your 20%? What is your 80%? And, schedule your 20% first because that's your bread and butter. That's what drives your business. That's what's most important. So get that on the calendar first, and then everything else will come secondary.
And I would argue that the technology piece of it is to put it into some kind of calendar, right?
For sure.
All right. So that's our coaching moment for you. What do you think we should tell our audience? Let's talk about, let's be really honest and real right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are the struggles and where have opportunities been lost because you have this habit? And not you specifically, people in general.
Yeah, I just think organization is one of the hardest things for real estate agents to kind of really get down and nail and get themselves organized as far as their schedule, their priorities, what their one thing is, and, work on that 20% and the 80 will come after. I think it's just really hard for them to stay focused. It's very hard for agents to stay focused because there's so much going on, not only in a transaction, but in a real estate agent's mind, because they're thinking and they're hyper focused, of course, on the transaction at hand, but in the back of their mind, they're also thinking about their pipeline and what's coming up next. Yeah. So I think their brain's over here, and getting that organized and systematized is really hard.
Yeah. And this reminds me, and it's funny because like we read 15 books, they all say the same thing, but yet one book tells it to you a little bit differently. What I hear in that is, when we look at what we're supposed to do, what does it look like if we literally took 3 times a day and did an 11-minute meditation?
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite books.
Go ahead.
Okay. One of my favorite books that actually really changed the game for me and really spoke to me was Atomic Habits. In Atomic Habits, the whole premise of the book was start small. You don't have to wake up today and, get all your lists together, your calendar, your Google Calendar, whatever it may be. And all right, I'm going to time block into an extremely rigid thing. So maybe with an atomic habit, off the topic of that, it's just, committing to 1 day a week from 1 to 3 p.m. Focus on your lead gen follow-up calls, just start small, start somewhere.
Yeah. And the other part of that book that I absolutely love is it's the habit stacking, right? Mm-hmm. So your example is lead generation. My example, which you totally glossed over because you're like, I don't want to do that, is an 11-minute meditation, right? Where you're just silent within yourself and grounding yourself. So what in your life could you attach and habit stack an 11-minute meditation? Like where in your life could you do that? And when I think of that, I'm like, well, we can do it after we take a shower in the morning. Like we put the kids on the school bus, right? We eat breakfast, we have a cup of coffee. Don't open your email before you settle yourself into the day, because the minute you open your email, what happens?
All of your mindset is lost and it's chaos, and you're worried about this person's needs and this person, where you haven't taken a minute to yourself to clear your mind and get your head straight. Yeah.
It's so bad. We are our own worst enemies, and we will never be perfect. It's just one step at a time. So we're going to not do the birthdays for the entire year next year in 2023, which means that we're going to have to get into a habit of having it scheduled for whatever day of the month or time of the month that you're going to plan that, and then do it an hour or 2 every day until it's done. Because I do agree 100%, like the building of the design and then putting it into a system, that takes time, but that's its own entity. And once that's done, that's done. So if you had 15 birthdays in 1 month, you've already built the system, and you just need to do the work. So it's just changing your mindset around it a little bit.
Yeah, because it's getting out of
not a 20% item.
No, just trying something new.
Yep. Are you willing?
Absolutely. Why not?
Very cool. All right. So if you were going to give advice to any of our agents or anyone listening to this, even if they're not agents and they're business owners, what would be your advice around not finishing projects start to finish?
Get out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
Just get out of your comfort zone. Try something new. Try something different in your business that you haven't tried before, even if you think it's going to fail for you. Absolutely. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work for you, and that's okay. That's a lesson learned.
100%. All right, my friend. So you're going to stop doing whatever you're doing for 2023 right now, and you're going to go have real estate conversations and relationship building conversations.
Absolutely.
All right, my friend. Thank you for being a second guest, and I will see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.